Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I will be reading a multi-character Executor by me. So let's get into it. Neuvillette. Neuvillette was actually a lot more clingy than you ever thought he would be. Your first impression of him was very wrong, but you guessed that was about the case with everyone. After all, appearances can be quite deceiving. And you were no different than most people. Of course, impressions had an effect on you, and he looked quite aloof and intimidating at first, even talking to him. At the very first few times, you thought he was actually indifferent, until you got closer, and you started to notice how gentle he was. He was very, very nice, very kind, and most importantly, now that you've discovered, he could be very clingy sometimes. In a relationship, that is. The two of you were never apart until you had to travel for some business, and you could only come back to find him, and it was raining. You could only wonder how Fontaine has been doing with all that rain. But as you can tell from the citizens there, that the Hydro Dragon has been crying far too much. Perhaps he's feeling rather unpleasant about missing you. But there was nothing you could have done about that. So when you head home to the Palais and find him within his room, he hugs you tightly, and you could almost hear him croon. And it could be just him gaining the whole sovereignty of his dragon form that you could hear this, but you're not judging. In fact, it sounds adorable as you hug him tighter and pull him closer to you. Oh, Neuvillette, you're so cute like that. He blushed, but right now he was not going to comment on it. He was just glad that he got you back, and that you were finally home again, and you could stop missing you endlessly. So he was not going to defer with you on this. He was not going to argue about it. He was just content to have you by his side, to be able to hold and love you, because that alone was the most important thing to him. And as you cupped your face in his hands and kissed you, you were grateful for how much he loved you and how much you meant to him. When you pulled away, you did it with a sigh. Neuvillette, Neuvillette, come on, I'm home now. There's no need for all that rain. I know, darling, and I'm trying my best. I really am, but it's out of my control. I promise it will go away soon. Could we just stay together for a little bit? He asks you, and how could you ever say no to that face? You couldn't. Not when he was like this. He was weak to you, and you could tell, and you should not use that against him. He needed you so much, and you could tell he was missing you greatly. Alright, Neuvillette. If that's what you want, then we're doing it. Okay? He nods and sits down on the bed, pulling you into his arms, and he's so glad to feel your warmth against him, the sound of your heartbeat, to see your smile and your eyes shining brighter than every star. That alone made the rain slow down a little bit, and you could tell that with enough time, the sun would be shining through the clouds, and there would be no more rain. Perhaps you could save Fontaine in your own way from the endless downpour that Neuvillette was causing. So, what did you do while I was gone? Not much. Just trials upon trials. The usual. What about you? Well, I had some business errands to run, but nothing much. In fact, I missed you greatly, Neuvillette. Perhaps even more than you missed me. You think so? He looks at you in a concerned manner, and that's only because he knows the extent of how much he missed you. And you're just teasing him. As much as he says that he does not feel emotions like most people, or he doesn't know how to relate to humans. He's such an emotional person it almost hurts. And it's a very good thing about him. One of the many things that you love about Neuvillette. I'm not sure, but you know what? I feel like you missed me too much. I mean, you've lived for centuries without me. So what's the big deal about me not being here for a couple days? I'm sure it's not so bad. You tell him, and he sighs. He's not really sure of what to say, and he doesn't know what to do. He feels a little bit embarrassed, but he may as well just bear his own thoughts to you. Look, darling, it's not easy for me to do this, but it's just difficult for me to understand my own emotions. But lately, it feels so difficult to be without you. It's like you've been here all my life, when you've only been here for a few years. In comparison to the centuries that I've lived, to be quite honest and transparent with you, I myself don't understand it. But it's not like there is anything I can do about it. I love you, and that's the way my heart chooses to behave. I miss you greatly, in ways I cannot explain or understand. So I hope you don't mind it so much. And you don't mind how bothersome I become after. And the way that he's so sensitive about it. And how it seems to be so complicated for him. It just melts your heart. He's so adorable, so sweet, and so... He's everything that you've ever wanted, and yet he doesn't see himself as such. And bothersome? He couldn't be further from the truth. Neuvillette, darling, you're completely wrong. And let me prove it to you that you're not bothersome at all. You tell him, and before he could say anything, you're peppering kisses all over his face. And he's blushing brightly. But most importantly, he doesn't make a single move to stop you. He's enjoying it. He loves the attention that he's getting. He loves being with you and being pampered by you. And once you're all done, you wrap your arms around him tightly. So, you trust me now? Of course. Of course I do. I always did. He says, although it's muffled in your shirt. And you know you still have a lot to work on with him. But you can tell that you're making progress.